Hello, YouTube. Alright, so yesterday I got into like a discussion with somebody that was sort of left over from the other day, so I guess it was sort of like 2 days long with, on Tumblr, if I didn't say that already. I mean, I'm sure that you know that Tumblr is kind of full of, feminists and social justice warriors. I'm neither of those things. In fact, I think social justice warriors and feminists pretty much only hurt the causes that they want to promote. Like, feminists are not for gender equality anymore as a massive group. I don't believe that. But anyway, so I mean, we talked about a lot of stuff, but really mostly what I want to talk about is the contention that this person had, and then another person who jumped in, was that, media affects people, and that, media isn't created in a vacuum, and that there are ideas and worldviews and all kinds of stuff that are in media by simply a virtue of being from its time and place. And of course I agree with that. I'm an anthropologist, and Levi Strauss has been a big influence on me, and he talked about stories and mythology as essentially being artifacts from their time and place. So yeah. And they both think that Supernatural is sexist, and I don't really think that, or rather on the whole, or that it's not any more sexist than any other stories that are primarily about male experiences, which, Supernatural is about, and has always been about that. It's always been about, brotherhood and, fatherhood and relationships between men, as, its primary, emotional engagement has always been about that. So, I mean, it's kind of weird to me that these sort of people watch Supernatural in the first place, because, they rail against all the time, like men and white people and, cisgendered people and straight people, like they're just all evil. And, I don't really understand why these people watch Supernatural, honestly, but whatever. And, I can't deny that media affects people, because I can't say that, as a preteen girl, Willow and Tara's relationship didn't shape the way that I view gay people, because at least in part it did. I can't deny that. I can't pretend that's not true, but messages that are put in media are never a one-to-one relationship, and this one person jumped in and said, oh, watch The West Wing, and I bet you come out of it a democratic socialist. And no, I don't think that would be the case, because, I don't just, take in whatever media, I'm watching, or whatever messages that are being presented to me and just, nod my head, empty, just, like a vessel needing to be filled up. I have ideas already in here that may or may not conflict if I ever decided to watch The West Wing. I don't really have any desire to, so I probably won't. And, I mean, like, Star Trek. My dad loves Star Trek, and he'll watch The Next Generation whenever it's on, but he's a hardline Republican. And, Star Trek, if you know Star Trek, it's a bunch of socialist, essentially, parables about, about social justice and science, and how important science is, and the advancement thereof, and how we need to treat people equally, and all of this stuff, and look past our prejudices, and be better people, be more, conscious of the differences of others, on a social level. But, my dad isn't taking any of that stuff in. And, my sister's boyfriend, James, who, he loves Star Trek, he knows a lot about, he's watched, every series, and probably all of the episodes, at least once, of all of the series, maybe even multiple times. And he's not a socialist either. Like, I mean, he's definitely more liberal than my father, but he has some conservative ideas too. So, you know, people don't just take in, you know, the media presented to them and you know, just then agree with whatever it is they're being presented. So if Supernatural is sexist, like, let's just say that it is, how much are people who are watching it internalizing that sexism? Or, you know, do other, you know, things matter more to these people in terms of, you know, forming an identity, or what's important to them in terms of gender, ideas about gender? Right, gender. Where, like, and certainly these people, like the two people I talk to, like, they're watching Supernatural and they're not internalizing like any of the sexism that's supposedly like so rampant in the show. And you know, Destiel shippers who like are for sure the biggest ship in Supernatural, like these people tend to be, you know, very liberal, and obviously, you know, they do, you know, Supernatural isn't making them sexist. So it's like, then how much is Supernatural affecting you? Like how much are you, you know, walking into the show and then coming out a sexist? Like media, the relationship between media and people doesn't work like that. Like there was an anthropologist, her last name's Abu Gold, and she's an Egyptian woman, and she did a study of Egyptian soap operas. She taught, you know, I think got interviews from the writers, I don't think she ever met them, of these soap operas, who were like these cosmopolitan feminist women who believed that like the women of their country needed to learn, you know, their values, so they put them in these soap operas. Well, Abu Gold, she watched the soap operas with the village women that, you know, these writers were trying to target, and like none of these women, you know, really took like the lessons in these shows that seriously. Like because they didn't have the cultural means to you know, achieve the goals of the characters in the show, or really the desire to do so. So, you know, how much, you know, media and audiences, you know, walk hand in hand, you know, lockstep, is contingent upon every person, you know, like of how much, you know, they agree with what's being presented to them, and whether or not those influences, you know, are more important than, you know, the people's real flesh and blood parents, or, you know, their relatives or their loved ones or whatever, is a question that can never really be answered. And I think it's really disingenuous to be like, Supernatural is sexist, therefore it will make people sexist. So yeah, that's what I think. Agree, disagree. I'm sure if people watch this on Tumblr, they're probably, you know, disagreeing with me and like thinking, you know, I'm a horrid monster and a horrid person. So, you know, whatever. But they're cool to comment too. You know, I don't care. I can handle it. I can deal. We can have a debate about this. Sayonara, auf Wiedersehen.